Hello, and welcome to our Structure-sponsored webinar, AI Plan Checking for Structural Engineers. Reduce risk, catch more issues, and save hours per project by InspectMind. Thank you for joining us. At any time, you may adjust your audio using computer volume settings that you have. This session will be recorded and made available later on the Structure website. On the bottom of your screen, you'll see the Q&A pod. To send a question, click in the text box and type your text. When finished, you can click the send button or push enter. All questions that you submit will be addressed at the end of the presentation. We are joined today by our speaker, Akash Prasad. Akash is the co-founder and CEO of InspectMind AI, a Y Combinator-backed company building AI tools for engineering teams. Having previously founded architecture and engineering firms, he experienced firsthand how manual Q&A, QC processes can create downstream risk and liability. He now focuses on helping structural firms use AI to standardize quality, reduce rework, and improve project delivery. At this time, I'd like to turn the floor over to our speaker to begin today's presentation. Akash?
Yeah, hi. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining our webinar today. So we have a presentation here on AI plan checking for engineers. So just a little story of how we built this. I grew up seeing a lot of structural engineering. My dad is a structural engineer. I studied computer science and wanted to kind of build at this intersection and combine these two fields. One of the problems we noticed in the industry was it's just really hard to check thousands of pages of drawings and calculations and specifications, architecture, engineering, cross-discipline, et cetera. It's very hard to check that at scale. And then you end up getting, rounds of city comments and hundreds of RFIs during construction. And so we started this company, InspectMind AI. We're a startup in San Francisco, California. Small team here, but we've built a really cool product that's an AI plan checker. You can upload your engineering projects like your drawings, calculations, specifications, even other disciplines like the architectural and civil, et cetera. And AI is able to go through it in detail in minutes or hours, depending on size of the project, and catch typically hundreds of issues prior to construction. So what we wanted to do here is show how AI plan checking is working for structural engineers. I'm only going to spend less than 10 minutes on the slides, and then I want to show you 10 concrete examples of the kinds of things our AI has found on actual projects. So you can see some of the capabilities and what kinds of common mistakes and checks that AI is running on projects. So the challenge is basically how do you scale QA QC? As an engineer, you can only spend so much time reviewing all the drawings and calculations, and you may get a lot of the big picture things like the overall, structural design and intent. But there's so many little details. How do you catch, detail 41 says this, and page 600 of the spec says something else, and the architectural drawing shows something else. It's these little details that get missed, and they come back to you as plan check comments, as RFIs, or worse, the contractor makes a mistake, and then now it's a change order, it's a liability, it's a potential claim. So our goal is to be a useful assistant and help catch these issues, that often come back and bite engineers later. So we're going to walk through some examples, how our tool works, show some real examples, and then really the second half of the call today, we're going to leave it open for Q&A. So the first half is going to be the presentation, and the second half is really going to be a interactive Q&A. I'm happy to answer any questions about our tool or plan checking in general. So where the issues come from, it's, manual review is inconsistent, right? It often different reviewers catch different things. I'm sure every one of you has submitted drawings to the same city and gotten different plan checkers for the same type of project. And one plan checker gives you 10 pages of comments, the other plan checker gives you 1 page of comments, even though it's basically the same engineer and the same type of project. And so there's a inconsistent QA process. There isn't like a standardized checklist that everybody follows. Many times it depends on how much time the reviewer has, their experience, what kinds of issues they've caught before. It becomes very subjective. And one of the things we're able to do is, can AI go run 500 checks on your project where it's consistent every time? And you can also kind of guide that and give it custom checks to run as well. And then every time there is a revision from the city, right, or county, it adds another month, right? The time you get the comments back, now you address, the other disciplines coordinate, you get back into the city. Every cycle is 1 or 2 months. If AI can catch most of the issues before the city finds them, you can actually reduce the number of plan check cycles, and that significantly speeds up permitting and time and then being able to start construction. And then also, as an engineering company, I mean, every round of revision, every round of city comments, it's eating into the hours that's going into the project and affecting the margin, right? So your profit margin on the project. So the more things are, QA'd the first time around, there's fewer cycles and revisions. It's helping you make your project more efficient and profitable as well. So we have a quick poll here. So this is going to show up in Zoom where you can answer live, and then we'll look at the results. But the question is really around your current QA process. How are you currently doing QA of your engineering projects, your drawings, calculations, specifications? Okay, interesting. So, yeah, this makes sense. Kind of a traditional process of maybe a senior reviewer at the firm trying to review each project, but there's, as you know, there's only so much time you could spend doing that, and it's impossible to catch everything. Interesting that 2% already using AI. Maybe curious later what tools or how you're doing that. And then evaluating AI, that's great. We've got a special offer today for the webinar attendees. Make it easy to try us out for free actually today. So I'll get to that towards the end of the call. So if you're evaluating AI for QA/QC, you could try us out today after this call. We've got a kind of a special promo for this audience in particular. So how our tool works, we've tried to make it very easy. You simply create an account on our website. You upload the PDFs. So it's just PDFs right now. Later we'll add CAD and Revit integrations, but right now it's just the PDF. So you'd be uploading your drawings. If you want to upload architecture and compare to that, catch coordination issues, you could upload calculations, specifications. If you have design standards, QA checklists, any things like that, project manuals, you could upload all of those. The more information you give the AI, the more context it's going to have to be able to catch more issues and check more thoroughly. After that, it takes 5 minutes to use it. You create your account, you upload, and you hit check. And then the AI goes through kind of the next couple of hours, depending on the size of the project. If it's let's say a house with 20 sheets of drawings, we can check that in maybe 20 minutes. But let's say it's a mid-rise building, 10-story building with a couple thousand sheets of drawings and specifications, that might take a few hours to check, but regardless, same day. So once you upload, the AI will go run in the background, and you'll get an email once it's once it's done, saying, here, we found 500 issues in your project. Here's the prioritized list of all the issues and evidence. And then the important part, all the AI is doing is just flagging issues and bringing them to your attention. It's not making any decisions. It's not making any judgment. It's not changing your drawings. It's not fixing anything. All it is doing is flagging them, bringing them to your attention. And then you, as the engineer, have the full judgment and control over, which items are valid, which items are you going to act on, which items are you going to fix, or which items you're going to skip. So our goal is simply to be helpful and support you and bring issues to your attention. After that, you're still the engineer. You're the EOR. You're responsible for which issues you want to pick up or not. Our goal is simply to bring them to your attention, and then you can apply your engineering judgment as to what to do with the issues we flag. So the kinds of things we catch, and this is just a partial list. This is not a complete list. In total, there's hundreds and hundreds of checks being run, and we're constantly adding more checks. So the product, it's every day, every week, we're just making it better and better. But some of the big things it's looking at code compliance, it's looking at coordination. Architecture says X, structural says Y, mechanical says Z, right? Those are common sources of issues during construction. There's constructability issues. Maybe something looks fine on paper, but it's not actually buildable per the way it's detailed here. Sometimes there's missing information. So these are examples of the kinds of things we're catching, but this is not a complete list. These are just a few categories out of hundreds and hundreds of checks that are run on every project automatically. So in terms of the results, right? There's benefit of using this as an engineering firm. You get fewer city comments, you save time in plan check. It's a much more detailed review than even the best engineers can do in a limited period of time, just because of the amount of information it's processing and the detail that it's going through. I mean, I've seen it catch calculation mistakes. I remember a project where in one part of the calculation, it was using 4 stories for the building. In another part of the calculation, it was using 5 stories for the building in the same calculation, right? It's just very hard to catch that. And it caught this, like, in one place, it had the wrong multiplier and it messed up the whole calculation. So you can catch issues like that. So you can use this for, prior to submitting to the city, and the impact will be you're getting fewer comments. And we actually have a great success story from a customer, an engineering firm in California, that ran a 11,000 square foot new building through our tool prior to the first city submission. 11,000 square foot ground up. Our AI found 350 issues. They went and fixed all of them prior to submitting to the city, and they received 5 pages of comments from the city on the entire submission, as opposed to what would have been 50 pages of comments. So it really made the permit process a lot smoother. So we have one more poll here, and then we're going to get into the demo. So the question is, where would AI help your firm the most? Like, kind of what do you value essentially? Is it your interest is in time savings? Is it reducing risk? Is it your project margins, consistency across projects? We'd love to understand what is most valuable to the engineering community as we keep further developing this product. Okay. All right, this is cool to know. So really, risk is number one. That makes a lot of sense. Obviously, you don't want liability and insurance claims and all of that. So it'll definitely help catch some of those before they happen. Helps with consistency if there's the same 500 checks run across every project, and of course speed, right? To be able to review even a high-rise building in hours instead of weeks it might take for a peer review. Or I wouldn't say instead, it's more of a supplement. It's not a the point I want to make is the way to use this isn't I'm not going to check my own work, or we're not going to have our internal review process. It's more of a supplement to what you're already doing. right? You're checking your own work. You have your QA teams, you have your senior reviewers, and then this is an extra pair of eyes with AI on top of what your professionals are already doing to catch additional issues is the way to think about it. So it's a quality tool, right? It's not replacing the engineer or the judgment. It's about reducing risk at scale. And it can really become a competitive advantage for engineering firms because if you're getting fewer city comments and your projects have fewer coordination issues, you know, when it comes to construction, that sets you apart compared to other firms. So this is a way to really leverage AI to improve the quality of what goes out the door of your office and for it to be a advantage in terms of you're getting fewer issues on your engineering projects, and it makes you look better to the client when the plans get through the city in 1 or 2 revisions instead of 4 or 5 revisions. So I'm going to get to the interesting part now, which is the actual demo. I'm going to show you 10 examples of actual issues on projects. And before we get to that, I want to, for those who are paying attention right now, we have a special offer today. We want to make it easy for you to try a first free plan check. We can't do this forever, and we can't offer this to everybody. So it's really just for this webinar. We've never actually done this so far. So we're offering a first free plan check today. If you go to the website and you upload a project up to 100 sheets, so you can't upload a high rise for free, but you could upload like up to 100 pages. If you use this discount code NCSEA 100 just today, it'll take $100 off of the price, and it's for a small plan check up to 100 sheets. It is $100. That basically makes it free. So you could use that today to try out the tool on your own project and see how it does without having to pay anything. And then if you like it, feel free to keep using it on your next project. So that's on the demo on the slides. What I'm pulling up next is a screen share of the demo that I'm going to show you. Okay, just give me 1 sec. Okay, let me know if you can see this. So what happens is after you upload the drawings, so you go to our website. In fact, let me just take you to our website. So what you would do is go to InspectMind AI, or you just can Google the name of our company, InspectMind, and find our website. There's a big green button, upload a drawing now, starts at $100. You just create your account. You could log in with Google if you like, or you can set a username and password. You can upload your plans and run a check. And if you use NCSEA 100, it'll wipe that $100 off. So you could do a free check today, just valid until midnight Pacific. So once you do that, the AI runs, right? Go have lunch, come back. AI runs and it finds all these issues. And so what happens is once it runs, you get this dashboard of all the issues found. So for this building across all the disciplines, the AI found 961 issues. So let's say you upload the whole permit set, like this example, the AI runs in the background for a few hours. You get an email saying, hey, we found 961 issues, critical, high, medium, low, sort by discipline. So since this is the Structural Engineering Association, I'm just going to limit it to structural issues. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show some structural issues in this project that it found. So once you have the issue list, what's cool is you don't have to trust the AI one bit. You don't have to trust what the AI is saying. We actually take you to that page, and we show you the issue, and we show you the evidence. So, for example, for this first issue, there's a Simpson hanger that's been called. but they had placeholder text, right? XXXXX instead of the actual model number. And this is on a permitted set, right? So they just forgot to go back and put in which Simpson hanger to use. So I know in the manual QA process, you might control F your PDF and look for a placeholder, X's. And I've talked to engineers who do that in the manual QA process, but this will catch those kinds of issues automatically. Then you've got an issue here where basically there's a schedule here with some missing values. Then this one, this is a common issue. So basically, what happens is um, the drawings in one place say that you need a H3 interior header. In other place, it says H210. This kind of issue becomes confusion, during construction where the drawings say one thing in one place, another thing in another place. It becomes problematic for the contractor. They get confused. Maybe there's an RFI, they installed the wrong one. Now they have to go back and change it. So okay. So this is again like header conflict, right? Different headers mentioned. Um, this one's a really interesting one because over here, basically you have one part of the one sheet, S2 says to use a continuous rod tie down system. And then S9 says use a conventional uplift strapping. So you have contradictory hold down systems, right? Um, so just scanning through here, you can see the kinds of issues that it's finding. Um, Here is another interesting one, assembly pattern, right? So you have a 2-ply fastening pattern on a 3-ply beam. This should be a 3-ply pattern as an example. There's one more I want to show that is like a constructability issue. So in this detail over here, you have a 2-inch long Hilti fastener. Now the issue is that the wood plate is 1.5 inches and the steel plate is 0.5 inches, which is 2 inches. So there's no space actually left to connect to the base steel beam, right? So what the AI is saying here is that you should have a longer fastener, like a 2.5 or 3-inch fastener, or a different connection method. So once you run the AI, for example, here there's 256 structural issues here and 961 issues across all disciplines of variety of different kinds of issues, electrical issues, architectural, calculations, a variety of things. Now, once the AI has run, you've got a few options in terms of how you can address these issues. If you click share, you can share this with your colleagues. You can send this to your coworkers. If you need to send this to the architect or to consultants, you could do that. The benefit of doing that would be whoever you share it with would have access to the entire dashboard. They would be able to see every issue, click into it, see the evidence just like you. There's a second option, which is you can export a spreadsheet. So if you click export, you can download a spreadsheet of all the issues. And then you could put this spreadsheet into, let's say, Autodesk or, whichever tool project management tool that you're using, you could collaborate there. That's the second option. So you get a spreadsheet export. And then the third option that I want to show you is, let me just pull up an example issue. You can one-click RFI. So if you click export RFI, it instantly downloads a PDF of this particular RFI with, here's the issue, here's the drawing sheet, here's the explanation, suggestion, etc. So you get an RFI that you can now send to, the appropriate consultant or team member, project team member to resolve that issue. So you can share the dashboard. You can export a spreadsheet, or you can one-click RFI. So that's the tool in a nutshell. The average project that we see, we find between 200 and 300 issues. Bigger jobs like schools, hospitals, libraries, we've even seen up to several thousand issues. Small jobs like, let's say, a single family residence, we might still find, a couple dozen issues. But general feedback from engineers have been they're very impressed with the quality and accuracy, the kinds of issues that it's finding. And basically, it starts at $100 and goes up depending on the size of the project. But for, $100 plus, we're finding dozens and hundreds of issues, and even just the top few, pay for the whole thing, make the whole review worth it. Even just the top few issues found, if you address those, you've already gotten a positive ROI on running the check, and then the 100 other issues are basically icing on the cake. So that's it. As far as the demo, like I said, the first half, we wanted to just kind of do the presentation and go through the demo. And really the next 30 minutes or so, we want to open it up to any questions. And I'll just keep it open here at the website. This is where you would go. Big green button to upload a drawing. Use the NCSEA 100 discount code to get a first free check today. Or if you want to book a call, you can also click here and you can book a live call with us if you have any questions. We're happy to meet you personally and answer any questions or any discussion you'd like to have. So let's open it up to questions. And I think Connie's going to read from the questions the participants put in, and she'll kind of moderate that. And then in terms of she'll read the question and then I'll answer. And then Shangling here is our co-founder and CTO. So we'll both answer the questions as they come up.
Great, thank you. We do have a good handful of questions here, and some may have been answered throughout the presentation, but I'll start right up at the top here. Are there plans to expand this AI model for code checking to the National Building Code of Canada?
Yes, so it can actually already do that. People are using this internationally, not just United States. People are already using it internationally. So basically, it's able to check codes all over the world, not just the United States.
Great, thank you. Since you have to upload client data, are you training on the data or storing that data in any way?
So we are not training any public AI models or large language models with your data. We actually have since I have the screen share open here, I'll point you to a trust and security page on our website. This walks through our data privacy and security. So I'll just summarize this right here, since this is a common, question on any AI tool firms are evaluating. So everything is hosted on secure Amazon Web Services. This is on Amazon data centers with server-side encryption. That's where the data is stored. We don't train any public AI models. The only thing that we may do is help improve our document processing to read the drawing, but that doesn't use your project contents in any way that can identify you, and you can also opt out. But one benefit of using this over, say, ChatGPT, well, first, it's a lot better at our tool is a lot better at plan checking versus a kind of a general purpose AI tool. So you'll get a 100x better plan check, but also, we're not training those models the way, say, ChatGPT or some other Gemini would be doing. Your data is kept separate from other customers. You can always request to delete your data. Let's say you've run the check and you want us to wipe the server clean of the project files, we can do that. And only the people you share access to your results would have access to see that project data. There's some more information here on some technical details, for example, where the data center is located and things like that. But I'll just point the participants to this page of our website. And if you have any questions, we're happy to, you can email us and we're happy to answer them as well. There's a live chat here as well you can ask. So yeah.
Great. Next question. Does this work with both IRC and IBC codes?
Yes, it can check. It can check any code. In fact, if there's a particular code that you want checked, you can also just upload it. So along with your drawings, you can also upload the codes. If you have a specific code that you want checked, you just upload that PDF along with the drawings, and it will be able to check it. So any code that you want checked, the tool can check. You just upload it. Here's the code I want checked. You have the PDF. You upload the PDF here along with your drawings, and the AI will check against that code. So you
Great.
could,
And you might have,
sorry,
oh,
go
sorry.
ahead.
So you might have just kind of answered this recently. What protections are in place to keep private drawing data private?
Yeah, so I think I'd answer that here in terms of, the secure infrastructure. We don't train public AI models. Keep your data separate. You can request to delete your data and the access controls. But there's more questions in terms of specifics of any of these. We're happy to answer those as well. But I'd recommend this page as the starting point in terms of the data protection. I mean, our goal ultimately is we want to, you upload your files where our goal is to deliver the plan check. Um, we're not like a free tool that's where, we're monetizing the data. This is a paid tool. So we're just using your data to run your plan check.
Great. Thank you. I think building departments these days are also leveraging AI. Do you think this will make the review process a little bit uniform? I mean, building departments need to find issues, but also need to be reasonable. I wonder who governs that part, as I can see every building department doing their own thing now.
Yeah, and we've gotten interest from a number of building departments who are exploring using this at the municipal level as well. Um, Ultimately, this is a tool. It'll follow whatever guidelines and checklists that the building department would provide. So, if a building department would, add their guidelines and checklists and preferences and requirements, and the tool would be able to check against that. So where we would be helpful to building departments is just helping make sure checks are more consistent and thorough. Everybody on the call knows you can submit the same project to two different reviewers at the same city and have completely different experiences, even though it's supposed to be the same codes that they're checking against. So yeah, AI can definitely help bring more consistency there while allowing each building department to provide their judgment and guidelines and preferences into the tool.
Great, thank you. Question is, what do you mean by we don't train public AI models? Does this mean you're training private AI models?
So basically what that means is we're not training like a large language model like a ChatGPT or a Gemini. We're also not, so let me go back here. So let me just read this particular paragraph here. So we don't train public AI models. These are like, like we're talking about large language models or foundation models. We don't train any of those on your documents. All we may use the documents for, and you can opt out, is to improve our document processing models, meaning computer vision to read the drawing. So it's more of a document processing to read the PDF, but that doesn't use your project content in a way that can identify you. It's not training on your designs or details or engineering or anything like that. It is simply a computer vision model, internal model to just read these PDF drawings. But it's not training on like your knowledge or your designs or your, detailing or anything like that.
Yeah, and I can add to that as well. We don't train. What we mean is that we don't pass your information, your drawings to this AI model providers like OpenAI and Anthropic, right? So your data is not passed to any third party to train their large foundation model.
And so the reason this matters is I saw like when we did the poll earlier, 2% of the audience said they are using AI today. And, if you're uploading your plans into ChatGPT or Gemini, that is generally going into training ChatGPT or Gemini large language models. And so if you use us, that's not happening, right? So it's better protecting your data versus using like a ChatGPT or Gemini. Of course, not to the more equally important thing. I mean, GPT and Gemini are not designed for plan check. They're useful models, but our tool here is purpose built for plan checking.
Thank you. Next question. Do the code uploads count towards the page count that you pay for? Some of the codes are over 1,000 pages.
So basically what we're doing is we're actually kind of capping we cap the cost for the code checks. So it's not going to be charged at based on the number of pages. It's not going to be charged based on the number of pages of the code. It is going to be capped at a fairly nominal amount. So the main thing that you're paying for is for the drawings and specs. If you go to the pricing page, you've got like $1 a sheet for drawings, 25 cents a sheet for specs. And then for codes, it basically caps the amount at a pretty nominal price. Basically, it's it's based on the number of drawings, not the number of code pages.
Thank you.
So
Next
actually,
question.
just to clarify on that, when you upload your drawings, you upload all your files, the tool calculates the number of pages and shows you the price right there. So once you upload your project files, you'll see the price, right? And for a small project under 100 pages, it's $100. And so you can do up to 100 pages for $100. And if you use it today, we waive that $100 just for today, so you can try it out on a small set, for example. But going forward, when you upload, you would see it will calculate the price based on the documents that you upload. So to look at, you uploaded so many pages of drawings or specs or however many codes, and it will calculate the price automatically and show that to you before you pay.
Thank you. Next question. Do the PDFs need to be printed in vector format, or can the AI read raster images as well?
I can answer this one. Yeah, it doesn't have to be vectored. It can be just like scanned, but the higher quality, like the more clear the PDFs are, the better the results will be as well.
And this one's really cool because I've seen examples where people have scanned drawings or even hand drawn or maybe a scan of an old drawing, and it still works. As Xiangling said, it's not ideal, but the higher quality, the better. But I have seen examples where they have scanned drawings, just scanned PDFs, and it still works. It's still finding issues.
All right, next question here. When checking calculations, does this tool checks whether correct dead loads are used based on actual roof and wall assemblies shown on architectural designs? Does it check the capacity reduction required, for example, by the Division of State Architect, where they require a 0.8 factor to the capacity of proprietary connectors if those were tested statistically?
So on the calculation side, that is an area where we are adding more checks. But what I've seen so far, where it's kind of primarily useful is catching inconsistencies. So like an example that I shared earlier during the demo, there was a calculation where they were using 4 stories as the multiplier in part of the calculation, and then it just suddenly shifted to 5 stories in another part of that calculation for that same calculation, actually. So it caught that detail, right? And that had kind of thrown off the whole calculation off quite a bit. And so, we're not guaranteeing it's going to catch every issue. Neither can a professional. I mean, if engineers could catch every issue in an hour, you wouldn't need our tool. So our promise isn't it's going to catch every possible issue under the sun, but our promise is it's going to catch enough issues that it pays for itself many times over. And we're constantly adding more checks. So, for example, recently, just last week, we added support for geotechnical reports, for example. Now you can upload your geotechnical report, your environmental report, and we're able to catch issues there, discrepancies, inconsistencies. Let's say the geotech report calls for X, the structural shows Y, things like that. So we're constantly making it more and more thorough, but we're not promising that it's going to catch every edge case and every issue under the sun you can come up with.
Great. Can InspectMind operate without web connection?
Oh, so when you upload the files, you have to have the web connection, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to upload it. But once you upload it and it's sent over to our server, then you can go offline, and because all the calculation is from our server. And when all the results are ready, you need to get back online again to access the results.
Yeah, so you do need internet, at least even for 5 minutes, just to upload it and pay. But you don't have to stay logged in after that. Let's say, you've got 500 pages of drawings and it takes a few hours to check it. You don't have to stay on the website. You don't have to stay online. You can go do your thing. A few hours later, you'll just get an email saying, we checked XYZ building and we found, 500 issues, and here's the link to the results. So you would need internet to upload and pay, and you'll need internet to access your email and see the results. But you don't need to stay online while the AI is running.
Great, thank you. Next question. Are you able to temper the amount of review that the AI does for submitting a 60% issuance versus 100% issuance?
Oh yeah, people do that all the time. In fact, we had a great example recently. One of our customers, they checked a 30% set in December, a 60% set in January, a 90% set in February. They just did the 100% set in March. So they checked it 4 times as they were progressing through the project. And each time there were hundreds of issues found, and they were able to go and fix those issues early. So that is a very common use case to keep running checks at different stages of the project, not just at the end. And it'll understand, this is a progress set. It'll check, the progress set, and so it understands the drawings. That's why it's able to, be useful. It's able to read and understand the drawings is a big part of it, including understanding, what's going on. Now, to answer that question, one more thing is when you do upload, there is an opportunity there is a text box where you can prompt. So if you've used any AI tools where you can put in a prompt, like you can give it like instructions, we have that ability as well. So when you upload the files, you have the opportunity to add some instructions in the text box where you might say, I want to focus on XYZ or ignore XYZ. Let's say you want to ignore certain kinds of issues. You could just put that in the text box. So that is a way to kind of customize it in a sense to what you want. In addition to that, you can also upload your checklists, your QA guidelines, your standards, your manuals, and it'll be able to check against those. So sometimes, big engineering companies, let's say they have their guidelines, let's say they have their civil design guidelines for their projects. Okay, they can upload that, and it'll be able to check the project not just against the codes and not just for issues in drawings and inconsistencies and the kinds of things I showed you, but also catch inconsistencies with your QA checklists and manuals and design standards. So that's kind of a way to customize this without really having to customize it. by simply uploading your custom QA checklists and guidelines and using the text prompt box, you can configure it to your firm without having to really do any extra work.
Great, thank you. Next question, is this intended for vertical construction only? Can it handle bridge plans?
Yeah, it can handle vertical, horizontal infrastructure, bridges, roads, highways, all kinds of things. So we've actually had engineers check bridges. I remember a bridge in Southern California with a couple hundred issues we've recently. People use it to check like land development. I didn't show a civil example here because this is more of a structural engineer association, but we've had some very, very cool examples of checking like land design, civil engineering, like horizontal construction, infrastructure, utilities. And people have been very impressed with the issues it's found there: grading plans, elevations, clashes, um, datums, city standards, all kinds of things. So it's not limited to any particular type of construction or material. It can be used on any kind of project.
Great, thank you. Next question, I had a good one. Here it is. I see the immediate value as a supplement tool. However, it seems natural that after a period of time, QA, QC engineers will lose motivation or even capability to do the tedious work of looking through submissions with a critical eye due to the potential false trust that AI will catch most issues and the reviewer's attention will be focused on reviewing AI flagged items. How can a QA, QC office prevent this natural tendency to keep a critical eye through the submission reviews to still catch items that AI will not?
Yeah, this is a supplemental tool, not meant to replace the QA/QC process. That's really not the goal, and it shouldn't replace the QA/QC process. I mean, just for starters, it can't catch everything, right? It's it's not going to catch everything, but it is catching a lot of things that's getting missed today. So it's a good supplement, but it definitely is not a replacement, and it's not an excuse for not checking your own work. It's just an extra pair of eyes. But you're right. I mean, that is something that teams are gonna have to be intentional about. I think that I would say that this is something that is not even, I'd say, specific to plan checking. It's just true of AI in general. Let's say you're a software engineer and there are all these AI tools to help write code, but you still have to be accountable for the software working and not having bugs and all of that. So I think this is an area where um, people have to know kind of what AI is good at, what it's not good at, and how to work with AI, and not kind of for it to be an excuse to be lazy about doing your work. It's really, I don't know if Shanling, you want to share anything on that? Because in terms of maybe from the perspective of software engineering, how kind of AI helps make you more productive, not like lazy.
Um, yeah, I mean, as a software engineer, I use AI every day and I'm more productive now. And as a result, I also need to get more things done. I don't think I get less work done, but I just get more things done because there's some more productive tools. So I got busier basically.
Great, thank you. Next question. It says, with the trial, what is it that we should upload?
You can upload any project PDF. Like I'd say the most common things people upload in terms of structural engineering is like, say, the structural drawings, architectural drawings, and specs. That would be a pretty easy thing to upload. Even if you just put in your structural drawings, it'll still be useful. If all you have handy is your structural drawing PDF, you could drop that in. But if you have your calculation, if you have specs, if you have the architecture as well, obviously the more material you give it, the more it has to work with and the more issues it's going to be able to find. So at a minimum, if you just gave it one PDF, I would recommend giving it your structural drawing PDF. But if you wanted to give it more, you could put in your structural drawing and, let's say, architectural drawing, because now the benefit would be it can catch some of those coordination issues between architectural and structural. And, I remember last year we were meeting with a big general contractor, like a $500 million company in Southern California last summer. And they were telling us horror stories of they had a project where there was a 1 inch discrepancy between architecture and engineering, architecture and structural, and the project got stuck for a month because of that. Another one of our customers last year, they were sharing a nightmare they had where there was a 2 inch difference between the specs and drawings, and it became a $3 million change order on a $90 million project for the real estate developer. And so we all know these little discrepancies and issues can turn into millions of dollars of liability. And so our goal is to help catch and prevent as many of these kinds of issues as possible. So if you put in, say, architecture and engineering, yeah, there might be some things where maybe architecture says X or structural says Y, or the drawing shows one thing, the calculation has the drawing shows one size, the calculation is actually for a different size, right? I've seen issues like that. And so the more you upload, the more context it has, just like if you were, if you had a human plan checker, right? If you give them the drawings and calcs and specs and architecture, obviously they can do a more thorough job. Same thing with AI. But if you wanted to just be quick and try it out, and all you did was upload 10 pages of structural drawings, it'll still catch issues.
Great, thank you. Next question. After a check is complete, how long are the results available?
It's however long you would like. We can configure that is configurable. So if you want us to delete it, we're happy to delete it. If you wanted us to set a policy, I want all of my checks deleted after 60 days, for example, we could implement that policy for your account. Otherwise, it'll just stay there unless you ask us to delete it. So even if you wanted to come back to it 2 years later and see what AI had found on that job 2 years ago, you could still do that. So it's completely up to you. We don't delete it by default in case you want to access it later. But if you want it deleted, we're happy to do that. No questions asked.
Great, thank you. Do contractors use this tool to generate change orders?
They use it to generate RFIs. We do have general contractor customers who use it at the bid stage. So when they're looking at a job, they'll run it through the tool and they'll understand some of the issues so they can bid more accurately. And they can also generate the RFIs earlier in the process. That's why we have that one-click RFI feature where GC can generate the RFIs and send this one to the electrical, this one to the civil, this one to the architect. So that is how contractors are using us as at the bid estimation stage to better understand the project and be able to price the job more accurately. And also catch RFIs early in the process as opposed to, when they're halfway in the construction and now they're waiting on that RFI response and it's holding things up. So that's the main way contractors are using us.
Thank you. Question, does the discount code only work today? I would like to demo it, but I'm not sure that I could get approval so soon.
Why don't you reach out to us if you can email me, Akash at InspectMind.ai, AAKASH, or support@InspectMind.ai, either way, or even our chatbot here on the website. Just reach out and we can look at your specific request and see how we can accommodate. But the code that we have on this presentation, the NCSEA 100, is valid. So it's about almost 11 a.m. Pacific right now. So for about another 13 hours. We wanted to avoid the case where we're doing 1,000 free plan checks. That's why it expires today as opposed to perpetual. But if there's special circumstances, just reach out to me and we'll see what we can do.
Great, thank you. If we have company standards that we want it to compare the drawings to, would those company standards count towards the page count? Would we essentially pay for the standard pages each time we upload, or is there a place that we can add that to the AI's knowledge base?
It would kind of be treated as like a spec. So it would be treated the same way like a spec is treated at like the 25 cents per page. But it is very useful. In fact, one of the types of customers that we have is companies that build a lot of buildings, kind of brands. So if you think about, I can't say the name, but think about like a household name store where they have thousands of stores across the country, and every year they're building hundreds of new stores. They have to make sure each new store not only complies with the building code in that city in Arkansas or in Seattle or in Los Angeles, but also that it meets their brand's standards and design standards and guidelines. And so that's a great application of this where you can check not only for the kind of the codes and engineering, but also against kind of your company's specific standards. So it is treated the same way like a spec book would be treated. It is at a discounted rate of 25 cents instead of a dollar. But we treat it kind of like a spec basically. But some of our customers who, every job they have, let's say, a civil design guideline, or they have some company standards, and we're able to check against that. And that's one of the things that makes this tool very, very useful for them beyond just the standard architecture, engineering, and building codes.
Great. Next question. What if we have more than 100 sheets in the trial upload?
Yeah. So basically what happens here is we have a pay per check model, or we have subscriptions. So in the pay per check model, a small job up to 100 sheets is $100. Up to 250 sheets, it's $250, then $500. And then after that, it's $1 per drawing sheet, 25 cents for other sheets. So if you uploaded a small job up to 100 sheets and you use that code, it's a $100 price, but you get a $100 discount. So your bill is $0, correct? Let's say you uploaded a bigger job that's in the $250 tier or the $500 tier. That code is still going to give you a $100 discount. So the 250 will become 150, or the 500 will become 400. So you could still run a bigger job today and you'll still get $100 off, right? But we wouldn't check like a school for free, right? But we are giving you $100 off. But if you wanted to check like a small job, since it starts at 100 and the discount code gets you $100 off, it effectively becomes free today. Or for these tiers, it becomes a discount.
Great. Thank you. We have time for one more question. Does this tool do geometry coordination?
So one area we are working on is more geospatial understanding. However, in terms of geometry coordination, I have seen examples of floor plans and elevations not matching. If we had a couple more minutes, I could show a screen share, but I think we're out of time. But I've seen an example where you've got a floor plan and you've got the elevation, like the back view, and it caught that the design doesn't match. The layout of the doors and the number of doors and windows in the back view doesn't match what is shown on the floor plan. So in that sense, like it is catching geometry issues, but an area that we are, besides say calculations, an area that we're investing in more checks, we're always adding more checks and making it more thorough, is kind of geospatial understanding is something we're working on.
Great. Thank you. Well, before we close this out, do either of you have any closing remarks for the group today?
Yeah, we're happy to have you guys here. I think there's a lot of interest, clearly. I mean, we've had over 1,000 people on the call today. It's definitely a lot of interest from the engineering community. The easiest way is to try it out. That's why we have this discount code today. I think we can talk about it till the cows come home, but if you upload a plan and try it out, you'll see on your project the issues it found, and in 5 minutes you'll know if this thing works or not, if it's useful or not. I'd say generally people have been quite impressed. Would love your feedback. If you try a check for free today and email us your feedback, we're always improving the product every single day. Like we believe in kind of the compounding, improve the product 1% every day, and it just gets better week after week, month after month. So even if just out of curiosity, you wanted to try it out, see what you think, send us your feedback. That would be much appreciated.
Great. Thank you. Well, on behalf of Structural Magazine, I do want to thank you all for your participation in today's event. The recording of this event will be made available on the Structure website within the next week. This does conclude today's program. I thank you all and have a great day.